Okay, everybody, let's get started. My name's Ross. I'm one of the techs here at Church Windows. Um, and today's topic is adding families and people. Basically, I'm going to show you how to add new families to Church Windows through membership, or how to add a person to an existing family. Um, so to do that, you know, open up Church Windows and click on Membership. So when you're adding a new, let's just start with adding a new family. So when you add a new family, you have to, define or decide whether or not you want to put them in the members database or the visitors database. It's up, if there's, and obviously you as, as the creators of your database know what you guys choose how you define members or visitors. So just for this example, we'll go into members. When you open it up, either database, the first family it shows you is just the first family entered into that database. If you want to add a new family into the database, you must first make sure that of the two windows that exist, the family record and the individual record, you need to make sure you have the family record clicked or selected or highlighted, so it'll be dark blue and the X will be red, and then click the add button up here in the top left. And when you click that, it'll clear out the family record and the individual records. There will be no family members listed, because this is basically your blank slate for adding a new family. So let's just go, I'll add myself. Alright, so put in the mailing label, which can be say and family. And then I go down to address, etc., etc. City, state, zip code, and the area code. This is a setting I'll show you here in a few minutes. Those can either be left blank, or Church Windows will automatically fill it in based off of what your organization info is. So wherever your church is located, according to Church Windows, it will fill in those little pieces of information to save time. But if you don't want that, I can show you how to not have it do that. So phone. And then once you have your family information entered, you next start by adding in your first individual. So I'll just add myself over here. So if I go down to first name, I'll go across real quick. And then the system tries to guess what the last name is based off of the mailing label. It doesn't always get it right, so I'll just change that. And if you have any of their information or anything like that, say their birth date, you can add that on this screen as well. And then let's see, object report order, primary. I always recommend filling that out, even if they're not on the directory, because it helps other reports make sense. So after you have all the information you want to add about a particular person, you can just go up to the top left here and click Save. And that officially adds that family and that individual to the to your database. And then after you click Save, you'll get this little pop-up down here that says Add another record. It'll ask you if you want to add a new family or add an individual, or you're done adding people in general. If you click add individual, we'll do here. What it allows you to do is add a second person to this household. So you see over here on the left, it's still got the same household information, and it lists me as a family member. So that's how you know you're adding it to this household and not adding a new household or adding it to a different household. Let's do down, enter in some other information. And then after you're done entering in their information, click save, and it'll ask you again. So if you're done adding records for the day, you just click exit add, and then what it'll do is just take you to that person's record, and then you're just free to close out if you want. So now after I added myself and Kathy, I can go back in to members, click find, and in the name column, if I type in my last name, you see we both show up here. So I can click on one of us and click and hit the enter key, or I can another way to find people is if you click find, you can either select and hit the enter key like I just did, or you can go up and hit go. So say you have a family that already exists in church windows, but they have a kid or someone moved in with them, so they have a new person to add to their household. And so they already exist, so we don't need to go up here and click add to add a whole new household. We just need to add it to an existing household. So to do that, first you have to find the household that you're adding a new person to. So click find again. Type in them. Click on their name. Hit enter. Take you to your household. Now when you want to enter a new individual to a particular household, you have to make sure that you have the individual record side highlighted or selected, not family record. So you can tell the difference when you have the individual record side highlighted. It'll be a darker blue up here at the top, and the X will be red. So when you have that side clicked, if you then go up to the top left and click add, you'll see the member family record on the left is still there. You just then on the right you have it's blanked out for you to add a new person. So you can we can enter in their information. And then click save. Now if you don't fill out their directory report order, it doesn't require you to, but it will let you know, the directory report order is necessary for many reports. Consider filling it out, and you just click OK. And it still saves it and everything, and you can go back to it if you want. And then after you add an individual, ask you if you want to add another record. So you can either click add individual, exit add. So if you click exit add, you now see that the third person in the database has been entered. And anybody who entered in the database you can find by, typing in their last name up here, and then they show up and you click enter. It'll take you to their database. And I did all that in the members side. The visitors side is essentially the exact same. You add people and households the exact same way. It's just, the member and visitors is just a way of keeping, you know, it's just you just keep those two. You keep visitors obviously in the visitors side, and that's the only real difference between the two. Let's see here. Then, going back to when you're adding a new family, I the city, state, zip code, home phone things automatically filling in. If you don't want those filling in automatically, to make it so that doesn't happen, when you first open up membership, if you go into special functions and then settings, up here in the kind of top left area, there's a checkbox that says use city, state, zip code, and area from organization info when adding new family. You just uncheck that and then click OK. And then when you go back into members and say you want to add a new family, that's now blank. That's helpful if you have if you're a church that has a lot of snowbirds or people from out of town and things like that, or you're in a more populated area where there's a lot of different zip codes and cities and things like that. Really, other than that, I don't have anything else to show you. We ended a lot quicker than I expected. Do you guys have any questions about what we went over? I don't have any questions popped in yet from during the webinar. Let's see if you guys have any now, though. But yeah, if you don't have any questions or anything like that, you're free to go. The webinar is we covered all the topics. Okay. All right. All right. So Linda Kemp is asking, how do you edit wrong information already in there? So to do that, like for example, say the Jones family actually lives on 123 Second Street instead of Main Street. You just find their record. All you have to do is just, select it and, highlight it and then backspace and then say Second Street. And then all you have to do is just click the save button, and that record and the record has been edited. Essentially, you just go in, make the changes you need to make, and once you enter in new information, the save button at the top shows up, and then you just click that and it saves your changes. Linda Staley and Estelle are both essentially asking questions about if a visitor becomes a member, how do you handle that? Fortunately, there's an easy built-in feature within Church Windows that allows you to transfer from members to visitors and vice versa. So say Joan Thomas has now become a member. I'm in the visitors database currently. So if you go up here to options in the top left, at the bottom you have this transfer to member file. You click on that, and it's it's simple. say, transfer family and all individuals to the member file. Um, Most of the time, 95% of the time, you'll have this checked instead of selected individuals. So what this will do, transfer family and all individuals. This will transfer the household information and all the individuals' information and all the individuals over from visitors to members. So I just click OK. Transfer completed successfully. I click OK on that. And now you see she no longer is in the visitor side. So if I close out of the visitor side, go back into members, and if I click find, type in Thomas, her name, and then Jones, you now see that she is in the member side. And it's as simple as that to transfer a household. Carol has a question. If I could explain the report order again. Yeah. Um, the directory report order is probably the single most important field in the database. If you guys run directories, it's required, and it's highly recommended for other reports. It's essentially a way for the program to know, how to sort people on reports. So we have a few different options: primary, secondary, child with family, and then 4 and 5 are less commonly used, but individual, primary separately and individual separately. So when you're running a directory, the system has to know basically who the primary person in the household is, who the secondary is if they exist, and then who the kids are. Um, that way, if it's excuse me, so whoever the primary person is, if they have, that's how it sorts by last name. Whatever the primary person's last name is, it'll sort by that on the report. Things like that. If you run anniversary reports, you just have a whole bunch of people in a household. The system doesn't know who's like married to whom, who has the same anniversary. You have to have primary and secondary, essentially. The two married adults in the household typically. The anniversary report requires the primary and secondary be filled out in order for them to show up on the anniversary report. Those are the two main reasons for the directory report order. Linda is asking, how do you delete duplicates? So essentially, you can only delete somebody if they don't have any history of giving. Even if the donations have been corrected to somebody else and things like that, that you can't delete them. But to delete a household, to delete an individual, say you have multiple versions of, first you want to make sure you're deleting the extra duplicate, not the main version of them. And there's actually a document on our website that's probably the best thing to look at for this. I can show you where to find that. So on the member, so say you have to delete an individual duplicate. You make sure the member individual record is highlighted with the person you need to delete. And then in the top left here, you click the delete button. And it says delete individual Grayson Mathewson. And it gives all the different reasons for it. You click here to confirm deletion and OK. Now, if you delete somebody, it removes them completely. They cannot be recovered unless you restore your data from before they were deleted. To delete And a family, it's the same process. You just make sure the member family record is highlighted and click delete. Click from here to confirm the deletion and click OK. Now, like I said, if somebody has giving or a history of giving, that sort of thing, they can't be deleted. So, like I have, the first people in the database, this Robert Jones. I have him highlighted and click delete. I'll say Robert Jones has donations and cannot be deleted. If that's the case, but there's still a duplicate, like say you had two different versions of the same person, with both with giving, but you've transferred the giving all to the correct one. The incorrect version, what you do then in that case is you give them a reason for termination. You may need to create this code, but a lot of churches just use a code for like duplicate record. Yes. You just give him a reason for termination of duplicate and save. And then now when you're entering donations or you're running reports, that version does not show up. So for all intents and purposes, you only have one record of that person. You don't have any duplicates anymore. Let's see here. Let me see if we have any other questions popping in. Let's see. Any other questions from anybody? While I'm waiting on questions, I'll go to the website and show you where to find that document. So if you go to our website, churchwindows.com, if you scroll down here to the left, there's a section called support blog. If you click on that, and then it brings up, so we have, I think at this point hundreds of videos and documents of different help and on different subjects, and are for Church Windows. So just type in duplicate and hit search, and then this thing that says here, donations handing duplicate givers. You click on that, and then where it says view or print PDF, you click on that, and that takes you to that document on how to handle duplicate givers. Linda Sharps asks, if an individual and a family marries, how do I move them to a new family? So that's basically transferring to an existing household. So say, let's just go with, say Dwight Altoff marries Joan Thomas, who we transfer to the member side. So what you do is you open up the person who you're wanting to move to a new family. You click on options at the top here, and then transfer individual, and then you say highlight individuals to transfer. You want to make sure the one person that you're wanting to move is highlighted, and then you choose existing family, and then this little drop down here is sorted by last name in the mailing label, and there's no real search for it, so you kind of just have to ballpark guess where that person will show up. So Thomas, I scroll down to near the bottom, and there she is. So Joan Thomas, and so existing family, Joan Thomas, and I click OK. Transfer completed successfully. And now you see here, Dwight is no longer in that household, but if I click find and type in, Altoff last name and say, let's find Dwight now, and click go, you can see, he is now in Joan Thomas's household. And then from there, you go through and do the marriage date and all that stuff on their records and change their statuses and everything. All right. Hopefully that answers that question. We have time for another. We'll stay open for another minute or two if you guys have any questions. Currently, type in, hit enter, and then so I know there's a question coming, and then you can finish the rest of it. Hopefully this has been helpful. For anybody wondering or if you came in halfway through, we are recording this, and this will be put up on our YouTube channel by the end of next Friday. And then you guys will be able to watch it again or watch the rest of it if you missed some. Okay. I am not seeing any more questions coming in. All right. So I'll just end our session here, and you all have a good one. Thanks. Bye.